Today, I want to talk about emotional balance. And this is a topic that I chose today because I experienced emotional imbalance in my environment. And I thought, this may be a good topic. When we feel overwhelmed, when we feel anxious, when we feel there are these various thoughts that's just in our head, we shut down or we act out. In both these states, we are emotionally imbalanced. Why is emotional balance necessary? Is a point that will come to a little later. Let's try and decode and understand what actually is this emotional imbalance. More often than not, we allow imbalance to happen when there is something unexpected. When we engage in an emotion, when we engage in a thought or in a behavior, we associate an expectation along with it. Like, for example, let's say there is a community sports happening, and I want to be a part of, let's say, cricket team, or I want to be a part of the volleyball team or the football team. When I give my name for that event, I associate an expectation with that event. You know what? I am giving my name and I will be selected. Then starts my efforts, my consistent efforts. I go every morning, I go every evening, I go on weekends, I go on weekdays. I practice and I practice and I practice and I practice. Now, one fine day, there comes a list of people selected, and my name is not there. What would I feel? Similarly, imagine this happening in the work front. I work and I work and I work. I take additional responsibilities. I manage additional projects. I stay back additional time, or I initiate projects. I initiate work. And when the time of appraisal comes, or when the time of performance appraisal happens, my name is not there. Or I feel the percentage of appraisal that I have gotten does not equate to the amount of efforts and actions that I have taken. Many of us would have gone through this, or a variation of this, isn't it? When we engage in a thought or an action or an emotion, we associate an expectation with it. Where is this combination coming from? I am feeling something because I don't want to feel this. I'm thinking something because I want to avoid thinking that. Every thought, every emotion comes with a set of expectation. Now, I wonder, if that is the case, have we never experienced an emotion or a thought without the expectation? That borders on the line of unconditionality. And you are the best judge to reflect on when, where, how, and why you were unconditional. Was there an expectation associated with that conditioning, with that unconditionality too? How do we disconnect from this link of expectation and our action or our thought or our emotion. It is this expectation that is causing imbalance. Fulfillment of that expectation, perfectly fine. We are emotionally overbalanced, probably. But the lack of fulfillment of this expectation leads to emotional imbalance. When we are emotionally imbalanced, we allow anxiety and panic to enter. When we are emotionally imbalanced, we are easily triggered by our environment, which means we voluntarily give the key to our environment to trigger us. This is the reason we work towards emotional balance. How do we work towards emotional balance? Well, you might have heard people say, don't feel this. Don't feel it. Why do you want to think like this? Why do you want to feel like this? Remember, emotional balance can never be achieved with the words why, don't, no. Never. These are the words to be avoided when you are trying to work towards your emotional balance. Upon not being selected in the team, rather than feeling, I have failed, I don't even have the skill to get selected, can we reframe it? I put in all these efforts. What was my takeaway? Maybe my strength and conditioning increased. Maybe my agility increased with all the efforts and practice that I have put. Maybe I gained a new skill for all the times that I have stretched and I have worked. I gained leadership by initiating, by leading people, by managing people. This is called as cognitive reframing. We are reframing our toxic link between our feeling, emotion, and action and an expectation associated with it. We are disengaging that expectation, hence enhancing the emotional balance. Think about it. At the end of the day, we don't need to go from being sad to being happy. We just need to travel from being sad to being tolerable or acceptable sad. For ourselves, not for the whole world, not for the society, not for the external environment. When I say acceptable and tolerable, it is our own emotional capacity. Any thought, any emotion, or any behavior that hinders our emotional capacity is something that causes imbalance. When we go on to the spiral, when we go on to the loops, is when we are moving away from balance, entering into the imbalance zone. In the initial time, we may not get to know immediately that we are in the imbalance zone, but with consistency and continuous consistency, we'll be able to identify this loop well before. Just give it a thought. Reframing is one such way. We have many such tools at our disposal, like grounding, like grounding technique is one. Then we have self-awareness. Then we have working toward the core sense of self. These are various other techniques. However, can we reflect on reframing? Can we just go back to the recent events where things have already happened? Can we pick an incident or a scenario, can we reframe that? And look at what could be the outcome of that reframing. Look at where our emotional balance is. Are we completely balanced, completely imbalanced, or somewhere in between? That in itself is a journey if we're somewhere in between. That's enough. We don't need to make a phenomenal shift. Incremental, continuous, consistent shifts. Let me know if this makes sense. Let me know if this works. We can talk more on this, isn't it? Well, I'll see you next week. Take care.